Good afternoon, everyone. It's Kirsten here from Kirsten Foss Coaching, where we're talking about you and your spa business. So today's Facebook Live is, I wanted to kind of talk about kind of the surprising changes that are, or the upcoming changes that many spa owners have decided because when we've had this shutdown and most of you have been closed for at least a couple of months, and so a couple of months of not working, of course, that was really stressful, understandable. But I think that there were a lot of surprising realizations because you actually had the time to slow down. Most of you guys as spa owners, I think probably most entrepreneurs, we tend to get into our business and we're super excited about it. So we put a lot of energy into it, a lot of time into it. And it ends up kind of, as we keep rolling with that kind of energy, sometimes we end up with a very, very busy business. Busy with clients, busy with team, busy with all the admin aspects that are needed to run it. Marketing, training, hiring, recruiting, all of it. It's a huge piece to manage. And so the beauty, what I see as the beauty of COVID-19 and having to shut down is that it actually gave the world, if we want to look at it at kind of that big picture, but it definitely has given our industry a chance to just slow down and have some time for personal inquiry. Have some time to actually think about, wait a minute, is this the business I actually wanted? Or did it somehow go off a little off course? Or just as importantly, have I changed? Have my personal goals changed? Has my personal vision changed? And of course, if that has, then it absolutely will change what your business may look like. So today I wanted to really kind of look at what kind of changes are happening for spa owners, the spa owners that I've been talking to, because I want to make sure that you know that it's okay if you want to pivot into something, a little different or a lot different in your business. That is okay. You get to reinvent yourself. You get to reinvent your business, however, which way you want. It needs to serve you first, because if it doesn't serve you, then it's just too draining to be able to continue to have that energy that's required to put into the business in order for it to run successfully. And you need to have that kind of energy in order to lead your team. You are you're the example. So if you can't have that energy to kind of keep up being that cheerleader, being that team lead, being the strategist in your business, then how do you expect to have the energy to kind of see that implemented? How do you expect to have your team take on that same kind of energy, or take on the energy that you want them to have, not necessarily what you have going for yourself? So the other piece that happened as far as having time at home, many of you had time at home with your kids. I was working with one spa owner where she had huge epiphany. We had been working together to, she's got a team and we were working on systems and structure so that she could leverage her business growth. But when COVID hit and she was home with her kids, she realized she was missing out on a lot at home, and that she really, really loved the time she got to spend at home with her kids. Really loved it. And having the time to have some thinking behind the experience, she was able to make the decision that she doesn't actually really need to grow her business how she thought she needed to. And that is totally okay. You get to create your business in the vision that you want, and it's okay to change it. So although I know many of you are very frustrated that you are still closed, I know that here in Canada, Ontario is really struggling. A lot of the spas in the Toronto and the Greater Toronto area have been, it's taking longer for them to reopen, and I know that kind of negativity can take over kind of your thinking. But I urge you to maybe take a little bit of a pause and look at what are the positive aspects out of these closures in terms of your personal life and your business. Are there any pieces that weren't working, that you've had the light shone on it, and could, maybe there's something there that needs adjusting or shifting in your life or in your business so that you can have what you need. All right, so here's what I see happening. So I see owners that are questioning whether they actually have the same vision that they used to. Like I said before, sometimes you just get rolling with your business and it kind of ends up becoming this thing that you'd kind of hope for. Like, you wanted to be really busy and you wanted to make, good money, and you wanted to have impact on your community. But all of a sudden it's this huge weight on your shoulders that is taking up, more than you thought it would be. And maybe you've had some time to think, maybe you want to kind of shift directions. Maybe it's a shift in a niche. Maybe it's actually niching from full service into acne. Maybe you realize you really want to work impactfully, and you've been loving skincare, and you really, really want to work with clients in clearing acne. So that's what I'm seeing in terms of kind of owners questioning their vision right now, whether it's the same that they had. And if it's not the same, this is a great time to kind of reinvent that vision and kind of relaunch it as you reopen your spa. The other thing I'm seeing owners question is the amount of time that they have been spending in their business. I think this is a huge one, a huge wake-up call for a lot of entrepreneurs that, if your business has been so consuming for you that you have missed out on your personal life thing, like your family, friends, your hobbies that fulfill you, reading that fulfills you, having time off. If you've been working your tail off and you just have zero time, many of you are reflecting on that has got to change. And for me personally, that's what I see what part of what COVID is doing for the world. It is asking us to reevaluate what works and what doesn't, and to go back to the things that are meaningful and fulfilling to you. Another shift that I'm seeing spa owners make in terms of kind of where they want to go is that they're questioning their actual business models. This is great inquiry, you guys. Is the business model that you have and ended up with, is it actually the model that works for you, that serves you, serves your goals? And if it's not, could you be shifting into something different? So for those of you that have teams, does the team model work for you? If it doesn't, why not? Are you missing systems and structures? So are you missing policies and procedures and protocols documented? Are you missing a staff handbook? Are you missing having a training program for your team? If you're feeling kind of like your team's running you, that's a pretty good indication that you're likely missing some structure and systems in your business. And it takes time and effort, but once those are done, and everything is kind of rolling in the system, it's not as much work for you. So that is one inquiry that owners are asking right now. What's missing? Is it systems or structure? Or are you kind of just done with having a team? If you are, that's okay too. You can reinvent yourself and your business. So I do know a couple of spa owners that have decided to nix the team, and because it's just hasn't been what they wanted for the past couple of years, but they've just been trying to push through it. And since COVID and they've had to close, they've decided to go back to a solo model. It's very exciting for them. They feel this huge sense of renewal and energy in their business that they have. If you're a solo, is a solo model working for you? If it's not, what's missing? Is it e-commerce? Because the whole problem with a solo model, once you get going and you have a really great clientele, the problem is that you have a ceiling of what you can earn. Now, if you're a skin therapist, you definitely have a much higher ceiling because of retail. But if you're tired of being a solo and COVID hit, you're kind of wondering, oh my gosh, how am I going to earn money as a solo? The pandemic's not over. This is going to be going on for at least a year. And likely we're going to have closures again in the fall and the winter. So as a solo, if the model isn't working for you, perhaps what's missing is actually your e-commerce Perhaps what's missing is you haven't developed any kind of virtual or online services. So we've seen those starting to emerge a little bit more since our closures, but I think our industry has a long way to go in order to really develop them, in order for them to help you earn more money. Okay. And the other piece, as far as solos go, maybe you're just done. When I was a solo practitioner, like a couple of, 5 years ago, I shifted full-time into coaching. I knew for a few years the writing was on the wall. I just didn't have the same fire under me for doing services. I was just going through the motions. I love my clients, but honestly, I was bored and I was just going through the motions and I was really ready for a change. And that's when I decided to shift into coaching and consulting. So if you're solo and you're just feeling done, that's okay. Maybe it's time for a career change. Maybe you want to shift into working in different aspects of the spa industry. There's lots of different aspects, all right? If you're done with the hustle, I totally get it. If you're done with the hustle, that means you definitely might want to consider getting out of entrepreneurship, because that's just what it's going to be for, that's how it is. If you have a brick and mortar spa, if you owners are kind of questioning, is that working for me? What's missing? Is it strategy and financial training and support so that you can make better decisions about your market positioning and how to move forward with your team? Or are you kind of done struggling with storefront? Many of you don't actually need storefront. If you've got a really great business, you can move into a less expensive building, like an office building, right? A medical office building. That's not going to be quite as expensive as like downtown storefront. Or maybe you are exploring the options of having a strictly e-commerce business in the spa industry. It can be done. It is being done very, very well. Very few people are doing e-commerce really well in the spa industry in terms of primarily e-commerce and then having virtual consults. But it can be done. It's ripe for opportunity. What else here? I think the last piece is maybe you are just kind of done. I've also heard that happening in conversations about, I'm just kind of done with the spa industry. Again, totally okay. And, I think that most people, your clients would totally understand. Some might not be happy because they love you and want to continue working with you. But if you know deep down in your heart that you're really just kind of done being a service provider, then rip the Band-Aid off and start making an exit strategy. Now, your exit strategy isn't necessarily going to, be next month. Sometimes when we've made a decision that we're done, it's kind of hard to hold on to keep going. But unless you're independently wealthy, you probably need some sort of exit strategy to kind of work your way out of the business and into maybe you're just wanting to maybe you're just wanting to have a job, to be employed. Gosh, sometimes that sounds really great, right? As entrepreneurs. And that may be kind of the direction that you are ready to head into. That's okay as well. Again, the message that I want to share with you today is that having the time to have personal inquiry about you and your business and whether all the things, like really dig in and get into the nitty gritty ugly stuff. Because the only way that we can make these decisions that really truly serve us, because I know all of you love to be in service to other people and to your clients, but the dark side of that is that we often don't pay attention to what we need. That is the plight of the service provider, my friends, is that we are often giving of ourselves at the expense of ourselves. And if this time of closures and having to stay at home and secluded has really taught me anything, is that it's an opportunity to slow down and reevaluate our own personal lives, as well as how our business fits into our personal lives. It's gotta fit. If it's not fulfilling you, it is depleting you. And if that keeps going on and on, you are headed for burnout. What I see happens often is that when you are headed for burnout, you're either ready for a breakdown or a breakthrough. It's your choice. if you choose not to have personal inquiry and really dive deep into kind of what you need, and you just keep pushing through, you will be headed for a breakdown. Been there, not so much fun. I know many of you have been there too, and it takes a lot to kind of recover from from that kind of stuff. So you don't need to break down in order to break through, but you do need to have personal awareness about that. And this is all about leadership, your own personal leadership. Change is scary. It's very scary, but it's also really exciting. They're kind of, this two sides of the same coin. And if you feel like you are ready for kind of a bigger visionary change in your business and in your life, then I encourage you to keep exploring that. And maybe you're not ready to say right now, yeah, I'm totally ready to go, or I'm ready to make a change in my business. Maybe you need some more time to think about that. That's okay too. When COVID hit here, I'm in Victoria, BC in Canada. So we've kind of been locked down, and my family has been kind of locked down since March 15th because our son had come back from Japan on a trip. So we had 2 weeks of isolation. So we're now on month 3 of like really, of course now we're able to open up a little bit more, but it's been 3 months of quiet, and having time to really analyze kind of our own personal life, my husband and I and our family. We've got only 1 kid left at home. He's graduating in a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks, holy cow. And, we're kind of in this like new empty nester stage of our lives. And, one of the things that my husband and I have discovered is that, we don't really love city life anymore. And although we had plans to buy recreational property, buy a couple acres and, build some gardens and our little recreational home, we realized like, wait a minute, why do we have to buy recreational property? I think we can actually just make the move in the next year or so. So, that I wanted to share that's we've had our own kind of inquiry and kind of personal ahas in our life. And it's really exciting to think about what that's gonna look like for myself and for my husband and kind of the lifestyle that we want, and kind of just start making those plans. So of course that's going to affect kind of what I want to do with my business and kind of how I want to develop it. So stay tuned. There will be things coming up over the next few months that you're going to be seeing that are new in my business that have come from that place of inquiry from a few months ago. It probably took me about 6 weeks of really sitting in the thinking to come up with a plan. And it was really frustrating because I kind of had this niggling and an idea of what it would be and what it could look like, but it wasn't really gelling. And I could have taken that as a sign that that's not the right thing to do. It's not the right strategy. It's not the right plan. It's not the right idea. But I sat with it and just let it kind of percolate and it took about 6 weeks to finally kind of bubble up and come into an actual solid idea. So maybe you have been experiencing the same thing as far as just realizing, wow, it really just kind of takes time to let things sit and settle so that they can integrate with you and that you have time to think about what serves you, what serves your family, and what serves your purpose, and what will come out of that. All right, that's it for me for Thursday Spa Business Break. I hope that has triggered a little bit of inspiration. Maybe it has helped you feel okay about some changes that you've been thinking about and then just thinking, oh no, my clients are gonna be upset or blah, blah, blah. It's okay. It's okay. Be brave and keep at it. If it's meaningful to you, then it's important. Take care and we'll see you next Thursday.